Hey!
You're doing it. I ain't touching it. Nope.
Here,
No,
here,
I ain't
here,
touching it. Nope.
here.
Nope. Good try.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's TGD Today right here at thegolfdirector.com, TV and radio, and we've got Tech Talk with Al Cloyd back in black.
You can't beat it, man. Stick, club, pole, or a ball bat. And I'm glad to be here this morning.
We're glad to have you, bud.
Definitely.
It's good to have you back.
We got somebody very special with us today. I'll let you go ahead and do the introduction.
Very special. Very special.
Very special.
And no, Hugh, we're not talking about you.
No, we're talking about your bromance.
No.
I know where we're
My
going.
bromance?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez. What did I get myself into?
Here we go. Let's go. Bromance. Sweet.
Yeah.
What's up with the Bridgestone hat, dude?
Because nobody gives me anything anymore, so I'm
Oh,
poor and I'm wearing what I got.
That's why I was brought in here today.
All right. I want everyone to welcome Mr. Nick Kruger, of course, Calloway Golf, our rep here in the area, and we always enjoy having Nick in. He takes time out of his very busy schedule to come in, and I'm really glad we could get you in now because you just got back from a very important meeting, did you?
I did. Yeah, it's been crazy, but very, very good.
Yeah.
The meeting was really exciting, and everything leading up to it so far this year has been great.
Well, I know that for sure because over at the fitting center, my God, we're just pumping out some Callaway.
No doubt.
But as we try to do here on Tech Talk is look at the new clubs, what's coming out for our visitors to the network, to the site, and our listeners across the land, across all the world. I got to tell you, I've put Callaway in the bag personally several months ago. I've got some of the new stuff that we're going to talk about today, and folks, you're not going to believe how phenomenal they perform. So we're going to jump right into it. Nick, you came out really revolutionary with the center gravity core last year. Well, actually the year before that, a year and a half ago, with the 815. Yes. And now the 815 has seen its next evolution in the fact with the 816 double black diamond.
That's correct.
And it is gorgeous. I played it this weekend the first time, and I lowered my ball flight. It reduced even more spin than I saw from the 815.
Yep.
I probably picked up, dude, I'm hitting it now 218 down the middle every time.
Man, you can't beat with a little draw or a fade.
Oh, a little baby draw.
Baby draw.
Just a teeny bit.
Only man I know that can try to hit it through that window right there and have to duck for the rebound.
Ain't a worm in South Carolina safe.
No. Tell us about the double black diamond, Nick.
It is the latest generation of our extreme low spin driver. So that's really what we're going after. Harris English and Danny Lee have already put it into play and had quite a bit of success with it. Both of them will be playing this week in the championship. So we're very excited about the success that we've had as well as their success. But what's unique and what's so special about the 816 double black diamond is that it's got the dual chamber. So that's something that's new. We've got the gravity core. We've got two different locations now. You can set it either in towards the heel or the toe for more of a draw or a fade, as well as the up or down position. So there's really 8 different combinations to really fine-tune spin as well as launch and maximize ball speed.
I attended the Callaway University to get my training on the driver, and one of the more interesting things I learned during my training, teaching, however you want to put it, there was pictures, so that helped.
That does help.
That does help me, is your better players, your lower handicaps, I'm talking like from 12 probably down, they have certain patterns of where they connect on the face, whether that be a heel contact or a toe contact.
Exactly.
It's just the way they groove their swings, the way they come through at impact. Pro, you know this. I mean, you hit it in the center every time, but some of us come through a little heel heavy, a little toe heavy, whatever. And what this double gravity core allows you to do is actually move the gravity core weight itself to that particular side.
Yeah, you change the center of gravity based on, whether it's heel, toe, or it's, up, down for height. And the beauty of it is it helps in watching, especially trying to help him, which, it's like carving dead wood. It does help for you to feel the fact your hands get less active to where you move that weight to. Because the reason people hit it in the heel or in the toe is a result of how much they try to hit with their hands instead of using their bigger muscles from the teaching standpoint. And so it eliminates a lot of that. And I think that's a plus.
And on the technical standpoint of it, tour players have been able to alter the center of gravity on their clubs with a product called Hot Melt. Basically, it's a weight that goes inside the head internally, where you can have a lower center of gravity or a higher center of gravity depending upon where you proportion that particular material. So what we're seeing now is the general public is starting to get access to tweak their clubs as good as touring professionals can. And it's becoming easier for them to do that because of companies like Callaway.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Double Black Diamond has, again, the OptiFit hosel.
It does. Yep. We've had the same tip now for quite a few models, which is great for consumers because if they've fallen in love with the shaft, they can put it right into the new head.
Yeah.
With drivers or the fairway woods now.
And again, it dramatically reduces spin. That's what we've immediately seen. For sure. It's got a new kind of a flat black matte coat, powder coat top to it.
It's pretty stealth
So
looking.
the glossy top that we saw on the 815, which was gorgeous, by the way, and you have one.
It's going to be tough to get that one out.
Yeah, well, we'll work on you.
But the new head is absolutely
gorgeous?
gorgeous. I mean, it
Isn't
looks
that
like
gorgeous?
an old wooden head, but bigger. It's just a good look. It's got bulge and roll to it. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. So the 816 Double Black Diamond, that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say it's totally for the low handicapper or the tour player because I've already fitted it into a 20 and a 22.
Right.
But then you have the new Great Big Bertha driver. And this thing, dude, is really good. I'm going to have to maybe get me one of those too. So
yeah, I have not seen the tour usage updates, but I have a feeling the majority of our guys, even at that level, will be playing the Great Big Bertha.
It's just nice to hear that name come back.
You
know what I mean? It really is.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the Great Big Bertha.
Well, you'll see something when you look at it that looks familiar. We've got the sliding weight back around the perimeter of the club. That helps us accomplish a couple of things. The main thing is that it really increases the MOI and the forgiveness of the club. What's so unique about this compared to our previous models is that it's our lightest chassis, it's our lightest body, and we have a greater amount of weight around the perimeter. So even the smallest, most minor changes to that weight can dramatically affect ball flight, whether you're looking for more of a draw, more of a fade, or you're trying to correct a slice or a hook.
Yeah. I saw that in particular yesterday. I fitted a 22 handicapper and big slice. And he's lost a lot of distance. I mean, we're talking a guy that couldn't hit his current driver from another manufacturer. I won't say who that was. He could barely get it over 170. So I put him through a couple of different manufacturers, and then we got to the Callaway Club. And then I put him in the Great Big Bertha. I moved the weight down toward the heel, down toward the hosel itself to give him more of a draw bias.
Draw bias, yep.
Okay. I put him in the new Kurokage 50 regular, and all of a sudden now he's carrying it 190.
Yep.
So he picked up 20 yards just with the club.
A lot of people don't realize, when you're swinging outside the in and you come in with an open club head face, that's basically what creates a slice.
Right.
And what it does is it puts a tremendous amount of side spin on that golf ball. So instead of the ball rolling over like it should, what you're getting is that ball spinning sideways. And the more it spins, the less distance it's going to get because it has more resistance.
Right, exactly. And he was seeing as much as 2,500 to 2,800 RPMs of side spin.
Yes, sir.
And then his overall spin was almost 5,000 with his driver. So
way
and then we got that spin
numbers.
rate down to almost 3,100.
I believe it.
So
Yeah.
we dropped it 2,000 RPMs almost.
And the side spin numbers.
And the side spin was what was depleting because he was able to move it in, and then I started manipulating the hosel fit.
Yes, sir.
And then gave him a little bit even more draw biased. We lowered his altitude on his descent angle, his attack mode, everything. His peak height dropped almost 9 yards, so he picked up more boring trajectory. And by just dialing him in, he goes, I got to get this.
Yep. Yep.
And so I gave him a trade. I gave him $22 for his driver.
I bet it was white.
Sold it. Huh?
I bet it was white.
No, actually, it was gray and silver.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Had this weight thing. That,
No.
Go ahead. Great Big Bertha. You got the driver. Both of these drivers, the Double Black Diamond and the Great Big Bertha, come out in multiple dimensions as far as your lofts, your lies,
That's
of course,
the
can be
A16.
yeah, that's the Double Black Diamond there with the 2 gravity cores.
Yep. Dual distance chambers, and then the Great Big Bertha. Grab that one here. There you can see the sliding weight around the perimeter. It's pretty unique. It's very unique, actually, in the sense that it's very low spinning, but also has a high MOI. And
Now the sliding weight,
Yeah.
the sliding weight was on the Alpha just a couple years ago.
on the Big Bertha, the first time we brought that name back here in
the Big
recent
Bertha,
years,
yeah.
the Big Bertha had it.
But the
Yep.
weight actually traveled a little bit further up toward the toe.
Exactly.
There was a little bit larger chamber.
Yep.
And this weight is actually 2 times the gram weight of the previous weight that was in the slide back.
Yeah, it's definitely
So it's a heavier weight, so you get much
a heavier
more
weight
effect.
with a lighter head, overall
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
So, yep, it's definitely a more dramatic change from one part of the club perimeter to the other part.
Right.
Yet it's also a very low spinning driver, which you were talking about, and that's always been the trade-off. Either you get something that has a very low and forward CG that produces low spin, or you get something with a lot of perimeter weighting that's very forgiving but spins more. With this driver, we've been able to accomplish both.
Right.
It's unique
Yeah.
to the marketplace, and it's great for Callaway.
Yeah,
And
it is.
with the new golf balls, I mean, you've got to have more loft to launch it,
Mm-hmm.
but you need like you said, the CG to be more forward and up to reduce your spin to get these things to carry.
Mm-hmm.
Then that way they're launching, but yet they're not spinning, so then they hit the ground running.
And you and I have been on the sim for hours and hours and hours, and we've because of you're getting back on the Champions Tour and all, so we've been testing balls and looking at spin rates and all. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we get into what Callaway's got coming out with balls. But you bring up the ball aspects of it, and what we've seen, you and I, just in testing the different compression balls, is the amount of difference between in that spectrum.
Oh, it's amazing.
Phenomenal.
And and then we finally found me a ball, and they take it out, so it's gone.
That's okay.
So,
You'll be taken care of. Trust me. With the Great Big Bertha, Nick, you've come out with the fairway woods, or the fairway metals, as I refer to them.
Yes.
Again, give us a little bit. This is the R Moto continued design, right?
Face cup.
Yeah.
So we've got the face cup design in there. This will be the 816 version. So this will match our 816 double diamond driver. Mm-hmm. This is everything we know about fairway woods: multi-material construction, forged composite crown, movable weight technology, as well as adjustability as far as loft and lie go. So this is really this is for the player, the lower handicap that has a very consistent swing but wants to be able to manipulate ball flight, whether it's higher or lower, or change spin rates. You can do that with the movable weight technology on the bottom here. There's
Again, without even touching the hosel,
Right.
you can adjust the height or the launch angle of that. If you want a higher ball flight, you move the heavier weight back. If you want a lower ball flight, you move it forward.
Yeah, and it'll definitely have a greater effect on the spin rate than the launch. And that's where we can bring in this dual cog technology where we can adjust the loft. And that's really going to change the ball flight. And we have this in 3 different lofts to begin with, and then there's some overlap as far as the different lofts that can be achieved.
Right.
So, yeah, there's 16 grams on this heavier weight here versus 3 grams. So you can either move that weight very low and forward, or you can move it towards the back. And then the Great Big Bertha version, which we've got right here, that also has the face cup technology, which has really separated us from our competitors. Very high launch, very low spin, great for distance. And it also has the Warbird Soul technology incorporated into it, which is something we brought back with the V Series, and has just been a home run for us.
That's a little hottie. Sorry, I don't mean to be sensual about it.
I'm not even going to touch it.
I put it
I'm
in
gonna
play.
behave.
I put it in play this weekend. That's a little hottie, and you've got the Kurokage as a standard shaft with it. That little 50-gram Kurokage.
Yep.
really good combination, lightened up the club. It's noticeably lighter than my previous 3-wood, no doubt about it. But however, when it gets to impact, it is there. It's rigid. It knows what it wants to do. So and there's no surprises with it coming off the face. It's not hot one moment and dead the next or whatever. It even on the off-center hits, which I have a lot of, as you know, it flew well. It carried well. I was real pleased with the performance of it this weekend. So I thank you, and my wallet thanks you.
No problem.
Yeah. All right.
And
also,
his friends hate you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, they all want theirs. Hey, where's mine?
Can't win them all.
I made some enemies. I wasn't even there.
I love it.
All right. Also,
I've done that myself quite a few times.
Callaway has been really aggressive also lately in the wedge department. And we saw a couple of years ago, we talked about it right here on Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Phil Mickelson got really creative, him and Roger Cleveland, and they were putting together a multi-dimensional use wedge that he could take to Augusta and pretty much maneuver his way around the heavier rough, the fringe areas, and the bunkers at Augusta. And what he came out with was, of course, the PM Phil Mickelson wedge. And this has gained a lot of notoriety and popularity in the fact of just the way it's shaped and the way it looks.
Yep.
And then people come and ask me, for example, and I know they asked Hugh and Al, they go, well, yeah, this looks kind of funky. And I tell them, I say, well, that's fine. Take one out and put it in that rough and put it in that bunker and tell me if you think it still looks funky.
Right. Yeah, it looks different and it performs differently. It's impressive. You definitely have a larger head. You have more grooves. You have a greater margin for error, even though, Mickelson designed it, and you think that you need to have a short game like him necessarily to play his kind of equipment. It's almost the exact opposite. The average guy can probably benefit more from a design like that with a larger face. It's got a U-grind type of sole to it to where all the bounce is actually on the trailing edge. So it allows that leading edge to get down under the ball very easily, but it prevents it from continuing that downward path. So it's great out of bunkers. It's great out of rough, soft conditions. But even if you are playing on some hard pan or some tight fairways, that leading edge is not going to bounce up into it. It's pretty special.
One thing I noticed initially when I got the product and put it in play in my trial and effort of getting to learn the wedge, I thought it was shorter from the fairway. I was sitting there, I just didn't seem to be able to. And then I figured out if the more aggressive you get with it, you don't have to worry about it bouncing off of a thin fairway. You can stay down on it. And like you said, the leading edge gets in, but then the back end in that U-grind is that U-grind, then it kicks in, and it just allows you to take a nice even divot and just go at the ball. So the distance I thought I lost, I found.
Yep.
So, or else I was just up north and the ball was flying better. One of the two.
There you go. You can't beat it. Ate your Wheaties.
But without a doubt, Hugh and I have talked about this on a couple of different occasions. He comes over and you got to attend some of these. We have our impromptu meetings. But without a doubt, I think it's the best wedge out of the bunker and out of the heavy rough that I've seen in quite some time. Would you agree?
Yeah, you have said that on numerous occasions.
Yeah. So it's just a product you need to put in the bag. If you're having any problem at all with your bunker play, heavy rough, especially down in the south here with the heavy Bermuda rough, then just don't look anywhere else. Just go get you one of them. So now what also came out just in the last couple of weeks is the new MD series, the 3, Roger Cleveland's next generation of wedges.
It has, yep, and it's taken off again. At the national store, sell-through has been incredible with it. Tour usage, it's been our best response from tour players with any wedge line, and it's also our most extensive wedge line. So we'll have 3 different grind options, which we can get into here in a second. There's 2 different finish options. We have lofts starting at 46 and going all the way up to 60. So now for the player that's really trying to dial in his pitching wedge or his gap wedge somewhere that we haven't necessarily had the perfect lofts for him, we do now. And we've incorporated a lot of the same ideas and technology from that PM wedge that made it so successful into this more traditional shape in the
Right.
MD3 package.
Al, hold up the PM wedge, if you would, and then hold up that gunmetal MD3 and just show the back of them. If you notice the little green inlets in the back of the wedge themselves, it's repeated by Mr. Cleveland in the MD3 wedge.
Yes.
And there's a purpose for that, though. It's not just because they're there
Yeah.
for bling. There's a purpose.
It does look cool, but
Yeah.
it definitely brings another level of performance to that product. And with the PM wedge, it was essential basically to drill out that weight, because the wedge with the larger shape and the larger size was just too heavy, way too heavy. Swing weight was out of whack. So they basically ported out the sole of it, and what they found as a result was that the CG moved higher on the face. So that allows the better players to be able to flight their ball, which is what they're always looking for hitting into the greens. But it also increases spin without even touching the grooves, which is a pretty cool idea. So they've incorporated that into this MD3 line. So now it's got a higher CG on the face, and it's got less weight on the sole. So it's easier to flight, and it's going to spin better.
It spins better. So what does that tell you about my whole philosophy about hitting shots in golf?
Yeah.
You have a higher CG in the face, lighter sole. That's going to make this dominate, correct? Trap it.
Yeah.
Where you're hitting down more, compressing the golf ball, which is creating the spin that Nick's talking about without having to mess with the grooves.
There you go. There you go.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
When they changed the
stuff.
groove
And done
rule,
through technology.
when they changed the groove rule, everybody started digging hard, to make up the difference, so that they could produce a wedge that would still be USGA legal,
Approved.
and spin like the old wedges did. So now they've pretty much got that technology now.
Plus now, Callaway also doing the aggressive, the groove patterns and things like that in the different grinds of the wedges.
Exactly. So actually the stronger lofts that you would use for a pitching wedge or a gap wedge aren't going to have the same grooves that you would find in the lob wedge lofts, like a 58 or a 60. So it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot easier to control the spin for the different types of shots that you're hitting around the greens or from the fairway. So the most aggressive, the sharpest grooves are going to be found in the lob wedge, where you're looking for the most spin, where the grooves in the 46, 48, and 50 are going to be much more iron-like. So what you would find if you're playing a set of Apex or XR irons, it would be more along those lines.
Isn't that nice? I mean, us amateurs, I would never think of that. But, I would maybe be trying to hit the wedge that had just as aggressive grooves as my lob wedge did, and then wondering why am I ballooning this thing up in the air, or.
Or you get on soft greens and it hits and comes running back away
Exactly.
from the hole, and you go, well, you do want it to spin and stop, but with a pitching wedge, you don't want it to hit and spin and come back.
Right.
So it's got to be two different animals.
Yeah.
And so that's what Nick's
And I
speaking
think
of
that's
here.
great. I applaud Mr. Cleveland for doing that, and that's a wonderful idea. Nick, we're kind of getting toward the end here. We've gone through the wedges. We've gone through the two new drivers, the fairway metals. I have been playing the Chrome Soft for some time now. I've handed out more than I've played with, I think, to date.
Yeah.
Hugh has played the Chrome Soft. I think you approved of it.
Yeah, it didn't. But I liked it. I mean, it feels softer, and people think, oh, it's not going anywhere, and then they look up, and it's like, well, here's your Titleist and your Bridgestone or your whatever, and then there's the Chrome Soft, and it goes further. And they're like, how? I'm like, well,
I started on this story earlier. Hugh, through our work together, he's all the time coming over, and we're testing balls against drivers and irons and wedges and stuff like that. And that's for this show, so we can keep as technically up to date as Back in Black over here.
That's right.
Okay.
No mercy for the weak.
Because we acknowledge we're nowhere close to him. Okay, so we're trying to educate, and it's always impressive, especially not just for us, because we hit balls every day, or at least I do. He doesn't. But when I get the amateur in, the 20 handicapper, and they are hitting the most popular tour ball there is, or whatever it may be, okay, and they hit that, and then I put a Chrome Soft on them, and they don't know the difference, and then all of a sudden they hit it and they go, That was a different ball. And all of a sudden they look up and they saw their distance with one, and now they see their distance with the other one. And this is off of Flight Scope. So it's not going to be, I'm not juicing it, I'm not putting in the boost or the turbocharge or whatever.
Right.
They're seeing the numbers, the accurate numbers.
See, a lot of people don't realize is, the Pro V1s, are geared for tour players. I mean, it's a tour ball. So and the average person doesn't generate the club head speed to compress it.
But
and to get it to work.
and you're right, Al. But also too is the polymers and the resin and everything that's used by the manufacturer. What is that ball composed of? Because you can even use lower compression balls by one manufacturer and use another manufacturer, and the two feel radically different.
That's correct.
Although they may even be close in compression rating. So we know the Chrome Soft's out. What's coming?
Okay.
You already heard Hugh complain.
Well, I'll think carefully about what I can share coming out of that meeting.
Okay, please do.
But to kind of backtrack and kind of jump on the originality of Chrome Soft, what makes it so different, and kind of where we're going with it. The Chrome Soft was really the first ball with a tour cover and the soft fast core. So the soft fast core is what the average consumer notices right off the bat. It's going to feel softer coming off a putter. It's going to feel better throughout the bag.
Right.
They just notice that it feels better. Whether or not they hit it better, most of them do, if not all of them.
Right.
But they can feel a difference. And this year at Augusta, we had 10 of our staffers put the retail version of that ball in play at the Masters, which is incredible to have they have access to everything. They can play prototypes. They can request different formulas and combinations of different materials. They were playing that ball, the retail version of that ball. Since then, they have made some minor tweaks to it. Some of the guys wanted a little bit more feel off the tee because it was such a low compression tour type of ball. They wanted a little bit more feedback. So that was one of the minor tweaks that they made. And in order to do that, they changed the construction of it slightly. The average consumer will see the same packaging. They're going to feel the same feel. It's going to look and sound the same. The tour guy, the better player, is going to get a little bit more feedback off the tee. It's going to feel slightly firmer to them, which is going to give them more distance.
Okay.
So that's the main difference.
But at higher club head speed.
At a higher club head speed.
Okay.
So
I don't want the average Joe Blow that's only swinging his driver at 82 miles an hour to think that he's going to feel a difference between the soft and what you're talking about
exactly.
here.
So the name's not changing, and it's still 30% softer than any comparable tour ball. So really the changes have been based entirely on tour feedback.
Do we know what the name of the new ball is?
It'll still be Chrome Soft. We're not changing the name.
Chrome Soft.
Yeah. Chrome Soft.
Packaging the same.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is the compression rate going to change at all?
Overall compression will go up.
What are you going to see it go up to? A ballpark figure?
I would say my guess is it would be around 75.
Okay.
From the previous, which was
Low 60s
About
right
65.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the reason I say that most people will not feel the difference is because of the core technology and the construction of it. So the inner core will actually be softer, and then the outer core is going to be a little bit firmer. So that's going to give the overall compression a slightly higher number.
Okay. All right. Currently, you have the SR1, SR2, SR3. Are those staying with us?
It's hard to say no when you've got people like Lydia Ko going out there and winning the way she's winning with that SR3. But Chrome Soft is eventually going to replace that as our tour ball. That's what we're seeing as far as tour usage, tour players. They're all gravitating towards that. And the biggest reason is with the lower compression, it's easier to have more consistency around the greens. So if you catch a wedge shot heading into a green, a groove low or a groove high, you're still going to get the same compression. So that means you're going to get the same carry distance, and you're going to get the same check, and you're going to get the same rollout or spin. Where with the really firm tour balls, it's great for distance off the tee. But if you don't compress it exactly the same every time heading into the green, you're going to get slightly different results. And that's why when Phil came to our sales meeting, when we learned about Chrome Soft, he raved about the consistency around the greens. that's why he put it in play. So he was the one that really got everyone excited about it, from our sales force to other tour players.
Right. Okay. So really, the Chrome Soft is the next change
New and improved.
in the ball. New and improved.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When do we expect those?
After the first of the year.
Okay. All right. Super. So nothing else on the horizon, or that you can give us a smirky grin about and say I can't talk about it, or on the ball horizon?
On golf ball, we'll have an exciting kind of mid-tier golf ball.
Okay.
So we've dominated it with the Super Soft.
Super Soft's great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Chrome
really
Soft.
low compression.
Yes.
U Pro it'd be like hitting a marshmallow. Yeah.
So we'll have something in that category for someone that's looking for more control around the greens than what Super Soft is providing, but it'll give them a similar feel, distance benefits, just more control.
Okay.
So that'll be in between the two. So we'll
Like
have
a different price point ball,
Yeah, exactly.
to hit that market.
in between the two.
Yeah.
Well, I found out the Super Soft really fits the ladies and the seniors.
No doubt.
That have lost club head speed. The ladies that are looking for more distance, they're using that lower compression ball, the Super Soft, and they're picking up distance. They're, spin. They're just hoping they can stop it on the green. To stop that forward
Or run
roll.
it up to the green.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
times.
So, but they're looking for that little bit more distance off the, get a little bit more compression off the tee box with the drivers.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that the lower compression balls are really helping them out. So we're trying to steer them that way. There's no reason for them to be hitting a 90 or 95 compression ball. I mean, you agree?
Yeah.
There's just no reason. Why handicap yourself?
That's exactly
So-
right.
Plus, they
All right.
fly straighter. I mean, the more you can compress it, the less spin you're putting on it, the straighter it's going to fly. So
Yeah, good point,
It's a lot
Nick.
more fun.
Very
It's-
important piece of equipment, the golf ball.
Yeah, no kidding. Just like the shaft, just like the grip, just
Yep.
like the head.
You got it. Very
it,
important.
It all gets important.
Yes,
at
sir.
some point in time.
Definitely.
All right, you've been listening to Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Of course, Nick Kruger joining us from Callaway Golf. We're so thankful to Nick for joining us again today. Let's not wait another year, dude. Come on.
doubt, no
It's
doubt.
always good for you to come by, show us the new stuff. We very much appreciate it. Of course, all this is right here on thegolfdirector.com. I've got my readout somewhere.
It's in front of you. I
Yeah.
mean, you steal them
It's-
every time you
it's-
get them.
I know.
so
I steal it. That's all right.
He's wallpapering his house with it.
Are you okay?
I'm doing just fine.
Beautiful. TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much more. Hey, need help with your next golf vacation?
Just call Dave.
Give us a call right here at 844-GO-GOLF1. That's 844-464-6531. All of our programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. To catch up on any show you may have missed, you can click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We are now available on over 1 billion with a B devices at Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Periscope, CatchMe.com, Blueberry, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. For George Honeycutt, Hugh Roy III, Dr. Grind, Al Cloyd, and, of course, Nick Kruger from Callaway Golf, we want to thank you for joining Tech Talk with Al Cloyd right here on TGD today.